There are places where the forgotten rest quietly, and then there is Heart Island, where the forgotten learn to walk again, where the ocean whispers the names of those buried without markers, and where the wind carries the weight of more than 1,000,000 unclaimed souls whose stories were never finished, whose families never came, whose deaths went unacknowledged by the world that kept moving without them. My name is Daniel Mercer, an investigative documentarian who has filmed crumbling psychiatric wards and desolate mining towns, abandoned asylums, and hollowed-out prisons whose ghosts lingered long after the last inmate left, but nothing, not the buildings, not the rumors, not the shadows, ever burrowed into my bones with the same cold inevitability as Heart Island, the one place I swore I would never set foot on, the one place New Yorkers never speak of unless they want the conversation to end. Yet one night, as I drank cheap coffee at my cluttered desk and sifted through footage of a half-collapsed factory in Detroit, a message appeared on my phone with no number, no contact name, no opportunity for reply, just a single sentence and a location pin. If you want the truth about Heart Island, come tonight. I'll be waiting. Jay. That was it. No explanation. No context. Just coordinates pointing to the old ferry dock rarely used by anyone except city workers assigned to the island for routine maintenance and the occasional supervised visitor looking for a relative buried anonymously among the rows. I should have ignored it. I should have blocked the number that wasn't even a number. Instead, curiosity, a trait that has ruined my life more than once, dragged me out of my office and into the cold November night. The docks were empty when I arrived, silent except for the slapping of dark waves against wooden pilings and the soft buzz of a flickering security light overhead. The air smelled of brine and old metal, like something forgotten just starting to rust. I expected to be alone, but then a shape emerged from the gloom, the ferryman. He was tall, gaunt, with skin stretched tight over sharp cheekbones, and eyes so dark they reflected no light. He didn't smile, didn't greet me, didn't extend a hand. He only tilted his head, looked me over as one might appraise a coffin, and said, "You're late." His voice was rough, as if scraped across gravel, but steady, like he had been waiting for hours or years. Time didn't seem to matter to him. "You sent the message?" I asked. "Message?" He repeated the word like it tasted foreign. "I didn't send anything." A long beat of silence followed. Then he added, "But people like you always end up here eventually." He turned and motioned toward the boat, an old, rusted vessel that looked like it had been dredged from the bottom of the harbor. Its paint peeled in long strips. Its engine coughed like a dying animal. Its deck groaned under its own weight. Against all instincts screaming inside me, I stepped aboard. The ferryman pulled a lever. The ferry lurched forward with a violent shudder as if reluctant to move through the water. Manhattan's glittering skyline receded behind us, swallowed by distance and encroaching fog, until the city no longer felt like part of the world. Ahead, Heart Island appeared slowly, like a bruise rising beneath pale skin, a strip of land long and narrow, thick with trees that stood like silent sentinels guarding the dead. The closer we got, the quieter everything became. Even the waves seemed to hush. My breath formed clouds in the cold air as I stared at the island, feeling, for the first time in a long career of chasing ghosts, truly unwelcome. slightly, not into a smile, but into something that suggested amusement at my ignorance. "You don't," he said, and the moment my feet touched the dock, he reversed the boat and drifted back into the fog until he vanished completely, leaving only the echo of the engine and the realization that the island and I were now alone together. Fog clung to the ground, low and thick, swirling around my legs as if testing my warmth. The smell of wet soil hung in the air, along with something faintly sweet, faintly chemical, and unmistakably tied to the long history of burial trenches here, trenches dug by inmates from Rikers Island, trenches filled with unclaimed bodies wrapped in cheap pine boxes stacked 3 deep, trenches dating back over a century. I walked the worn path inland, the fog parting reluctantly. Soon the white markers appeared, small, plain, weather-beaten wood slats sticking out of the earth in perfect rows. Each marker represented a mass grave. Each grave held up to 150 bodies. No tombstones. No names. Only numbers. Burial lot numbers. Section numbers. Row numbers. Humanity archived as data, catalogued as coordinates. 1 million people buried here and not a single one with a headstone. It felt wrong to breathe the same air. As I passed between the rows, the hairs on my arms rose. The silence wasn't empty, it was attentive, as if the dead had turned their heads underground to listen. I kept walking until movement flickered at the edge of my vision. I stopped, stared into the trees. Something shifted. Something small. Footsteps crunched softly on leaves, and then a boy stepped out, a thin, pale figure no older than 10, soaked from head to toe as if he had crawled out of the ocean, his clothing decades out of date, his expression blank but his eyes impossibly deep, like wells full of stories never told. "Are you here for them?" he asked, voice soft as a breeze, "or for us?" His question hit me like a chill. "For who?" I managed to whisper. He blinked slowly, water dripping from his hair. "The ones who don't know they are dead." Before I could respond, he turned and walked straight into the fog, dissolving into it like a reflection disturbed by ripples, leaving not even footprints behind. My pulse hammered, but curiosity propelled me forward to the old record house, a sagging structure near the island center. Its windows were dust-coated. Its door hung crooked. Its wooden frame groaned as if tired from holding on to too many secrets. Inside, shelves collapsed under the weight of old ledgers stacked like gravestones. Dust coated every surface. The air tasted stale, thick with history. I brushed off a book and opened it, revealing page after page of burial numbers written in neat, methodical handwriting. No names. Just bodies logged into eternity. Then, without warning, a loose page fluttered from the shelf above me. It drifted unnaturally slow, almost suspended in the air, before landing at my feet. The paper was white, fresh, untouched by time or dust. Written in shaky black ink were the words, "Daniel Mercer, Section 32, Grave 7, Arrival Pending." My hands went cold. My throat tightened. That was my name. My grave. My burial section. I wasn't dead. But the island disagreed. A sudden thump sounded behind me. I spun around. Nothing there. Another thump. Then another. Books tumbled from shelves as invisible hands brushed against them. The lights, though I had never turned any on, flickered rapidly, stuttering like a heartbeat losing rhythm. Shadows gathered outside the windows, clustering, stretching upward, twitching in odd, jerky movements as if the figures didn't have full control of their bodies anymore. Whispers threaded through the room, soft at first, then louder, layering atop each other in a chorus of grief, anger, yearning. My name wove through the whispers, repeated again and again, elongated, stretched, mournful. I backed toward the door, my breath sharp in my ears, but the door slammed before I could reach it. The whole building seemed to inhale. The whispers went silent. Then a child's voice spoke behind me, close enough that I felt cold breath against my neck. No one leads until they are claimed. I whipped around, expecting to see the drenched boy, but nothing was there. Only ledgers shaking, flipping pages on their own as if searching for the date and time of my death. Panic surged. I bolted out of the building into the cold air, but the world outside had changed. The fog had thickened into walls. Blue flames, strange, flickering, unnatural, dotted the landscape like lanterns carried by unseen hands. Locals had spoken about these lights for generations, but never with certainty. Some said they were spirits searching for lost loved ones, others called them the souls of the unclaimed dead still trying to be recognized. Now they circled me, drifting closer, illuminating pale figures rising from the ground. Hands first, thin, skeletal, dirt-caked. Then arms. Faces followed, hollow-eyed and expressionless, staring straight through me as if trying to decide whether I belonged among them. I stumbled back, feet slipping on the damp soil, but everywhere I turned more shapes emerged, men in prisoner uniforms from decades ago, women in ragged hospital gowns, children holding decayed toys, elderly figures with sunken cheeks, all moving with slow, deliberate, unnatural steps. And through them, weaving between their legs like smoke, came the boy again, his finger pointing directly at me. "You're not supposed to be here," he said, voice trembling not with fear but with pity. "But they think you are. Who thinks I'm supposed to be here?" I choked out. He looked around, his expression tightening. All of them. The flames brightened. The figures advanced. Their mouths opened, not to speak, but to breathe, as if remembering how lungs once worked. A woman with tangled hair reached toward me with fingers broken at odd angles. A man's jaw hung loosely as if never reset after some final trauma. A child clutched a rotted teddy bear, stuffing falling from its seams. "Stop," I whispered, though I didn't know if I meant it for them or for myself. But they didn't stop. They moved as one, driven by a hunger not for flesh, but for acknowledgement, for someone to look at them and say they mattered. "Run," the boy said suddenly, fierce urgency cracking his soft voice. "Run now." I didn't hesitate. I sprinted back toward the docks, the fog swallowing everything except the flames now chasing me, gliding just above the ground like souls unbound from bodies. The earth trembled beneath my feet as if something massive burrowed just below the surface. The markers blurred past me. My lungs burned. My mind screamed. I reached the shoreline and stopped dead in terror. The ferry was gone. The water stretched endlessly before me, black and indifferent. The flames paused behind me, hovering. A different whisper rose over the wind, a single voice, familiar and horrifying. Daniel, it was my mother's voice. She died when I was 19. I froze, tears springing hot to my eyes. Daniel, she repeated, softer, almost tender. Come home. A figure emerged from the fog. My mother, or something wearing her shape. Her face was the same, but her eyes were hollow pits reflecting blue fire. Her smile stretched too wide, too straight. We've been waiting, she said. You were always alone. Now you don't have to be. I stumbled backward into shallow water as more figures joined her, some familiar, some strangers whose deaths had long been recorded only by numbers. The flames brightened, circling me. The boy appeared again, breaking through the wall of ghosts. You mustn't answer them, he pleaded. You mustn't hear their voices. If you do, you'll belong to the island. What are they? I cried. Souls. Leftovers, he said softly. Stories cut short. People buried without names. They are lost, Daniel. And they want a name to hold on to, any name. The crowd surged forward. Cold fingers brushed my arms. A hand gripped my shoulder. I screamed, twisting away, splashing deeper into the icy water. The boy's voice rose behind me. Swim. Swim now. It's your only chance. I plunged into the freezing sea. The shock nearly stopped my heart, but adrenaline pulled me forward. I kicked, clawed, pushed through the water as screams echoed across the island, not human screams, but an agonized wailing of a million forgotten souls realizing I was escaping. Blue flames darted across the shoreline like a furious tide. Hands reached into the water, stretching impossibly far, grasping for my legs. I swam harder, lungs burning, throat raw, body numb. Then, a motor. A light. The ferryman's boat burst through the fog, heading straight toward me. I nearly sobbed in relief as the ferryman leaned over the edge, his dark eyes unreadable. "Grab my hand," he shouted. I reached. Our hands clasped. He pulled me aboard. The moment I hit the deck, the flames on the island exploded upward like a dying sun. The figures on the shore screamed in voices that could split stone. And then, as suddenly as they came, they vanished, the island falling silent once more. The ferryman stared at me for a long, heavy moment. "You weren't supposed to survive," he said quietly. "But the island let you go." "Why?" I gasped. He shook his head. "It doesn't matter. What matters is that you never return." He turned the boat toward Manhattan. I watched Hart Island shrink into the fog, a thin scar on the waterline, and I knew the dead were still watching me, waiting, whispering my name in the dark soil, hoping I would come back so they could finally claim the living soul who escaped them. And as the city lights grew closer, something cold pressed against my pocket. I reached in with shaking fingers. The page from the record house was there. Fresh. White. Untorn. The lettering had changed. It no longer read, "Arrival pending." Now it read, "Daniel Mercer, Section 32, Grave 7, returning soon." And for the first time since I set foot on the island, I realized the boy had been right. The dead of Heart Island never stop looking for those who get away. They never stop calling. And eventually, everyone returns.